I'm sorry about my hair. It's a third week of lockdown and it looks like this already. By the end of this, I'm going to look like a hippie. That's not a bad thing, but it's a bit out of control. What has this got to do with what I'm talking about today? Absolutely nothing. Not in my backyard. So the world population is growing. This is a fact. This is an undeniable fact. We all know it. So more people, more houses, yet not in my backyard. NIMBYs. So I wonder what the equivalent of a NIMBY would be for the people who accept that climate change is happening, that climate catastrophe is happening, but refuse to compromise their first world privilege or change their lifestyle in any way to stop that happening. I am not here today to talk about new homes. I'm here today to talk about the People's Climate Vote, which is a survey that the United Nations put out to 1.2 million people in 50 different countries, asking their opinion on climate change. And 64% of those people asked said that climate change was an emergency that our governments should be dealing with. But the alarming thing to me was 36% of the people surveyed didn't think that climate change was an emergency. Anyway, let's get on with it. The People's Climate Vote, 64% of people questioned said that they thought that climate change is a global emergency. So if 64% of people in this country, in your country, voted for climate change action, the problem would be sorted. That would carry. But this is just a survey. But the other interesting thing about this survey was this. People were given 18 action points that they were also able to vote on, that they thought would be most important to act on. And that was the thing that caught my eye. And I'll just read this to you. The most popular for protecting the environment was protecting and restoring forests, followed by renewable energy and climate-friendly farming. Hold those three in your head for a moment. The one that was least popular, with less than 30% of support, was a plant-based diet. What does that tell you? What that tells you is the people surveyed think that climate action is okay as long as somebody else has to do it. If I've got to start eating vegetables, I'm not really up for that. I don't mean me, I am. But that is what's going on here. Talk is cheap. Talk is cheap, which funnily enough is the same name of an album by Keith Richards. Underrated. Very good. And actually I have Keith here. I jest here, I jest, and I really shouldn't. Talk is cheap. But this is a very serious issue. If 64% of the population genuinely believes that climate change is a global emergency, and we practiced what we preached, we would have killed the bottled water industry. Nestle would be out of business. Ferrero Rocher would have changed their packaging. We would shop at greengrocers rather than supermarkets so that we could buy our fruit and vegetables not wrapped in plastic. We would drive our cars less. We would use public transport. We would use rechargeable batteries instead of single-use batteries. More than half the population wouldn't be running around in single-use face masks. We would be flying less. We would have our own coffee cups to get takeaway coffee. We would be heading for a greener planet much quicker than we are, but we are not. And if you are one of those people who genuinely believes that climate change is a global climate emergency, and you are still doing any of those things, or you have not changed your lifestyle, Do you haven't even thought about eating less meat and eating more vegetables and not necessarily embracing an entirely vegan lifestyle? But if you have not begun down that path, then I am speaking directly to you. Nay, I'm pleading with you. You need to change. If 64% of the population changed, we would be on a greener planet right now. The greatest threat to our planet is the belief that somebody else will save it. If you care about this stuff, and you care about the planet, and you are one of those 64% who would vote that your government take this seriously as a climate emergency, as a global emergency, and there's any of those things that I've just talked about or I've covered in previous videos that you are not yet doing, you can try and do them. Little changes. You don't have to do everything at once, but please do try. I want you to feel guilty next time you go into a supermarket and have to buy bananas in a plastic bag. I want you to feel guilty when you buy a box of Ferrero Rocher chocolates in plastic. I want you to feel guilty when you drive 5 minutes down the road when you could walk. And I want you to share this video if you can. You can share it on Facebook, you can share it on Twitter, you can share it on YouTube, you can share it across any of the toxic social media platforms and make them a vehicle for good. Share, like, comment, and subscribe. As my channel has got busier, I've started getting quite a lot more feedback in the way of direct messages, emails, posts on Facebook, comments, which I really do encourage, by the way. And most of the comments and stuff that I get is really encouraging, it's really well meant, and it's good, it's constructive, and I really do welcome that. But some of it is really quite horrible and hilarious. And I'm going to read you one of those messages today. It actually starts off okay, and then you sort of get into it a bit. But let's read this out. How to reduce climate change. The global political corruption. Less than 10% of all humans die from old age. 1 billion humans get flu every year, and 99% survive without masks, quarantine, lockdown, vaccines, hysteria. I think you know where this is going. 500 million humans got infected with the so-called Spanish flu in 1918. Then, third of global population today would be less than 7%. Coronavirus, massively less deadly, yet lingers on as just another easily survivable flu. Instead, the political charlatans turned it into an insane vaccine hysteria, pharma and media gravy train, instead of boosting human immune system by enforcing it a non-alcoholic, drug-free, vegetarian lifestyle. That was sent in by Martin from Beavers Quim in Essex, which was nice.